Mr. DeLuca? Sangl?
Here.
Mayor Daffis?
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas the desire of the governing body to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township Maplewood does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public the observation of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Cripe? Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Sangl?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes. Please join us to salute to the flag. Liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday night, due to Election Day yesterday, November 8th Township Committee meeting. This is a public session. As previously advertised, it is a hybrid session. So we have folks here live. Good to see living human beings here with us in person, and we have folks online. We have a good agenda tonight. We're going to start with a couple of proclamations. We always have a public health proclamation, if we can, each month to raise awareness. And we have a couple of other important proclamations today. Then we're going to hear from a representative of one of our previously approved cannabis dispensaries. And then we're going to have a couple of appointments to boards and committees, which we're really excited about. It's always great to appoint new volunteer residents to boards and committees. We're really grateful for your volunteerism. That will bring us to our first public comment period for agenda items only, and then we'll segue into the Board of Health meeting. This evening, we have our nurse, Anna Markarova, with us, who will lead us through that. We usually have our health officer, Ms. Davenport, who's out this week, and the Board of Health Chair on the Township Committee is Deputy Mayor Engel, who will lead. I'll turn the mic over to her for that. Then we have ordinances on final passage. Then we have introduction of new ordinances, and that brings us to reports. We always have administrative reports first. We hear from Township Administration, from legal, and from our clerk. And then we segue into reports from elected officials. As previously published, tonight's order will be as follows: Committee Member Adams, followed by Committee Member DeLuca, followed by Committee Member Cripe, then Deputy Mayor Engel. I always go last. Discussion items are 4 this evening. And then we will adopt our consent agenda and have a second public comment period for any subject matter. So let's get after it. Our first proclamation tonight is for National Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and that will be led by our Board of Health Chair, Deputy Mayor Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is a devastating disease that affects more than 190,000 adults in New Jersey aged 65 and older, projected to rise to 210,000 by 2025, an increase of 10.5%. And whereas more than 6 million people and their families in the United States are living with the disease in 2020, a number that is expected to triple by the year 2060. And whereas Alzheimer's disease, a progressive degenerative disease with the most common form being dementia, causes deterioration of memory and thinking, erosion of judgment and reasoning abilities, and affects behaviors, emotions, and the ability to care for oneself. And whereas there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death for American adults. And whereas by learning more about dementia, we can all do things to lessen the impact of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. And whereas by raising awareness and sharing stories, those diagnosed with the disease and their caregivers feel heard and respected. Now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Deb Engel, on behalf of Mayor Dean Zaffis and the Township Committee of the Township of Maplewood, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month in Maplewood Township. And we ask all Maplewood residents to support those affected by Alzheimer's.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Engel, for that. Next, we have a Transgender Awareness Week and Transgender Day of Remembrance. Transgender Awareness Month is November, and we think it's important to shine a light and to do whatever we can to raise awareness. In elections, school board elections and others across New Jersey the other day and around the nation, we see that transgender and non-binary students are under attack. Thus far, a lot of those efforts, legislations, book bans, closing restrooms, and so on and so forth, have been defeated. But we want our transgender, non-binary students and persons in the Township of Maplewood to know that here they are safe. Here we will raise awareness. Here we will come together. Here we will support. So I'm going to turn it over to Committee Member Kripe for this.
With 88%. For those unaware, dead means if anyone ever feels the need to ask why we LGBTQ over and transgender awareness week and the day of remembrance in November is the Constitution, the ways and the privilege of their themselves. It is because for many, not being straight and not fitting into a box. Also, while society has come along, here, the state of New Jersey as well, that's why we uplift the name. We uplift the names of Lisa Love, Marilyn Mayor Margaret, Camden Ryder, Ashley Burke, and we make it known that while their bodies and lives and spirit are alive, they deserve to live the whole life. Therefore, be it resolved on the is November 13th. We implore our citizens to educate themselves through documentaries like Disclosure, Netflix, and read books, redefine the seek out experience of young as the pursuit of quality. Requires an effort to know and understand others.
Thank you. Well done. Very well done. Next, we have Native American Heritage Month. We just celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day in Maplewood, the first Monday of October. And since then, I have gotten into the habit of starting our meetings during my introduction of reading our land acknowledgement, which I failed to do this evening. So I'm going to do it very quickly right now and then turn it over to Committee Member DeLuca to read the Native American Heritage Month proclamation. Our land acknowledgement acknowledges that we live on stolen land. We do. The land we now know and occupy as New Jersey has been the home of the Lenape people for thousands of years, excuse me. The Township of Maplewood offers respect to the Lenape people. We acknowledge that the municipality was built on a small portion of the Lenape Hoking. We honor the Lenape people in New Jersey and elsewhere for their environmental sustainability and their cultural resilience throughout our nation's history. We firmly commit ourselves to promote the well-being and growth of New Jersey's Indigenous communities and to provide opportunities for Indigenous peoples in our community in housing, economic mobility, employment, and cultural and artistic opportunity. And for those of you here with us in person this evening, if you haven't been in the room before, you may have noticed our amazing murals, which tell the history of our town. And right back there, you'll see a mural with Chief Tuscan of the Lenape people right here in Maplewood, a depiction there. So it's really important for us to acknowledge that. And now I turn it over for the Native American Heritage Month to Committee Member DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a proclamation for Native American Heritage Month and Native American Heritage Day. Whereas in 1990, President Bush signed a law designating the month of November as Native American Heritage Month, National Native American Heritage Month. And in 2009, President Obama signed legislation establishing the Friday following Thanksgiving as Native American Heritage Day. And whereas in light of the theme for 2023, celebrating tribal sovereignty and identity, it only seemed right to highlight the Nanticoke Lenape people, the tribal nation that inhabited the lands that would become Maplewood. And whereas for over 10,000 years, the Nanticoke Lenape have lived, thrived, and existed in the area that would become Manhattan to Western Pennsylvania down to Southern Delaware. And whereas in 1982, New Jersey officially recognized the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape tribe that has its headquarters in Bridgeton. And whereas in an effort to be an ally and advocate who uplifts the voice of others, we would like to point out that the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape website, the nanticoke-lenape.info, is available, and they have a free ebook, We Are Still Here, which provides in 62 pages a brief history of the tribal families, dispels inaccuracy in common assumptions, and provides an understanding of the Nanticoke Lenape people today. Now, therefore, be it resolved on behalf of Mayor Dean Daffis and the Maplewood Township Committee that I, Victor DeLuca, proclaim November as Native American Heritage Month and Friday, November 24th as Native American Heritage Day in Maplewood, and implore our citizens to visit the website and learn about the Nanticoke Lenape people, their history, culture, and become informed about our local Indigenous population.
Thank you, Committee Member DeLuca. Well done as well. So this brings us to another item on our agenda. I believe we have a representative from Etain, a cannabis dispensary that has previously received approval to operate under the Alternative Treatment Center then law in New Jersey to operate in the former Dunkin' Donuts, property. And I believe we have a representative, Mr. Caruso. Are you with us online?
Mayor, good evening. And good evening, members of committee.
Would you kindly introduce yourself and tell us how and why you're a representative for Etain?
Absolutely. So I'm an attorney. I work with the law firm Archer and Griner. I'm the chair of the firm's cannabis practice, and I've been working with Etain, New Jersey, women-owned business since 2019 in the last RFA that the state let under DOH.
So Mayor, if I may, just to put some context to this, at the last meeting, I was charged with the responsibility of reaching out to Etain to contact someone to ask them to come before the committee to give them an update on the status of the application and the location. I noted that Mr. Caruso was their counsel. I reached out to him. We had a nice conversation. He was more than cooperative in terms of information, and is here tonight to provide to you exactly what's going on with that particular site and the feasibility that this is ever going to happen at that site. Right, Mr. Caruso? I think that summarizes it.
Yes, sir. And my apologies for not being with you tonight. We had some family travel that didn't allow me to be there in person, or I would have been there with you together.
So if you would, Mr. Cruiser, could you tell us what the status of this is? I know the township has issued 2 letters in support of this application and for the particular site that's on Springfield Avenue. I go frequently to the Dunkin' Donuts across the street, and I know nothing's going on. So can you tell us what the status is?
Yeah, we'll give you the background, and we do appreciate it. The town has been very supportive, and this dates back to 2019, like I said. So the folks at Attain applied back in an RFA, or a request for applications back in 2019, and that was delayed for some period of time due to litigation, the pandemic, and a variety of other issues that came about. That award was made in the fall of 21. So after the long wait of 2019, the award was made in 21. This particular group is a vertically integrated operation. So in addition to the retail component that you have in Maplewood, they are also charged with building out a cultivation and manufacturing facility as part of that vertical award. The CRC, the new regulator now, right? This was originally pushed out during DOH, now is under the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, put out specific regulations for this group and required those with a vertically integrated operation to build and produce substantial work on their cultivation and manufacturing. Unfortunately, right now from moving forward on our retail to open that, or Attain would have been open months ago. The CRC will not allow them to move forward on the completion of retail until they can get their cultivation and manufacturing facility up and running. And they run into some challenges, unfortunately, on 3 different locations that they've had since their RFA. A town that chose to opt out after they had applied back in 19, unlike Maplewood. Another town that, frankly, there was an issue on the planning board and joint land use board on approvals. We are about to close on a property, and that will suffice for the regulatory component at the state level. And I anticipate that in short order, then we'll be able to then get the approvals to move forward on getting retail open. But I want to let the town know that Attain is absolutely committed to completing the retail in Maplewood, to opening. They are a medical operator, so they will be both. They have the opportunity to convert to adult use, but they must open as medical first. That was how they were founded, and they will be able to service a patient population in town, much like I think your other group, the apothecary, is also set up that way. But we are absolutely committed to doing this. My unfortunate problem is we've been back to the CRC on several occasions to ask them permission to allow us to open. This is going back to the spring of last year. They will not waive that regulation right now. So we can't move forward until we can get the substantial completion on the cultivation manufacturing work done.
Mr. Crusoe, if I may, what is this? What is the status of the lease? I assume it's a lease with regard to the property on Springfield Avenue.
Sure. So we renegotiated that lease to extend it with the landlord. I think that came at some cost to my client in order to extend that. But again, that is the commitment to that property and also the town of Maplewood. They're not moving away from that. We would be open already, frankly, had the CRC waived the regulation allowed us to do it.
So just to understand, are you the lessee? Is your client the lessee at present time, or are you just a contingent lessee? You are the lessee.
I don't want to give you inaccurate information. We might be a contingent lessee, but we're committed and locked into that property for now.
I mean, one of the issues, and the committee, I'm sure, is going to raise it, is that the condition of the property is not acceptable. Okay, and we'd like someone to take the lead and clean the place up and make it look presentable. So that's why I'm asking you if you're the lessee or you're not the lessee. But that I think there may be some additional statements from the governing body with regard to that.
Yeah, and what I will tell you is, regardless of who's the owner, we understand it as our responsibility. So I can go back to the client and talk to them about that and reach back out to you this week and find out if it's the landlord. We can talk to the landlord. If it's us, we can figure that out. But again, we're looking to have a long-term relationship with the city, and we're definitely interested in really making that a fantastic retail location. The company is absolutely devoted to staying.
And one last thing for me, you said that with regard to the cultivation, you're close to a deal. I mean, are we 60 days, 90 days? What's a reasonable expectation?
I'm going to say 90 just to give myself a little bit of cushion, but I'll explain to you kind of where we've been. At one point, we had an opportunity to do something in another facility that would have sufficed, and that's a backup plan right now. I would expect within 60 days, I'm hopeful we'll be closed, and then have the enough further along at the CRC to be able to go back to them and have that be sufficient to allow them to start on our retail.
Good. Thank you. Mayor, I'm sorry if I overstepped my grounds here, but I thought those were the relevant questions.
Very relevant, and I was going to turn it over to you anyway. So thank you, Mr. Desiderio. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor to the Township Committee to ask questions. Mr. DeLuca?
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Mr. Caruso. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, sir.
So I just wanted to be clear again. The facility that you're opening is an alternative treatment center. It'll be for medical marijuana, correct?
Correct.
And I just need to get some clarity on this because I was told that the CRC changed the rules, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, that we were under the impression you had to be at least 12 months as a medical facility before you could convert to a retail. Is that still the same?
No, we don't know any longer what the magic number is at the CRC. It's no longer 12 months. That conversion is conditioned upon two things. First, the town governing body allowing us or any other retailer to convert. You do that through a resolution. And then the CRC, I would say it's probably more like 3 months now from what I've seen anecdotally from others that have opened. But there's nothing rock solid in the regs. It was a year. They're not honoring that anymore. It's months now.
So the little wrinkle there is Etain came in under our medical marijuana framework, our medical cannabis framework. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have a commercial recreational cannabis ordinance, adult use. And there's a limit there of 4 retail licenses. And so we expected Etain to continue as an ATC, alternative treatment center, for 12 months before we had to consider whether or not we wanted to up our license to 5 and convert them and have them come in. So this new information is a bit of a wrinkle that we're going to have to discuss internally and with you to make sure that we're all comfortable with that.
And I completely understand. And again, totally premature at this point for us to even ask for that. We do intend to convert if we can. And we believe it's also in the town's interest from a tax revenue standpoint. But we understand it's your decision, and we would be hopeful to work with the town. But again, our goal is to get open and start serving a medical population first, and then come to you and talk about that. And again, it's 2 different regulators, right? It's the local and the state that both have to work together to allow it to happen.
Thank you. And Mr. Weary, I sent you some photos. Can you get them up? Just on the site itself, there's a couple of things, and we're going to try to get them up on the Zoom.
Okay.
One, there's a realtor sign that's up, a banner that's up. It gives the impression that the place is for lease, and it also makes it appear that no one wants it.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there forever. It's clearly not available, but yet you can see in the photo here, it says it is available. We'd like to see that taken down. In addition, the parking, we're now getting trucks parking in there. That's a pedestrian retail zone and should not be used for parking of trucks or anything else as a parking lot.
Understood.
And I would also alert you that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in that parking lot. Parking, there were some chains that were put across that people have driven through. And so there's church parking on Sunday. There's other parking. There's hanging out parking. And we would like to see that aspect of it addressed.
And just so I'm clear, something that would prevent folks from being able to park there? Is that I didn't understand what the
it becomes an attractive nuisance.
Okay.
If you allow it to be an open lot, there's just no control. So if we could get those addressed, that would be helpful. And if there's any way that we could get something instead of the available, something that would let people know that something's coming soon, although soon is a whatever kind of word that is, but that might be something that we can talk with the Springfield Avenue Partnership more about.
And I'm not being obtuse here. We will work with you as best we can. There's also state regulations that limit our ability to advertise anything until we're allowed. So, but certainly getting the available sign down is something I can work on.
So maybe, the other alternative is we're working with an artist to do some of the vacant windows, do some painting and some, sprucing up of that. And maybe just making it more lively than it is right now might be an option.
I'll talk to the client and we'll figure out something, and I will certainly be back to you.
Thank you.
Right, because the look right now, the appearance is that property is under no one's control. So we get a lot of inquiries, even from surrounding and sister municipalities. People are constantly asking us, what's going on with that property? It's been a really, really long time. What's going on? So any measures that you can take to exercise more control, as committee member DeLuca has suggested, would be really welcome. Any other questions from the Township Committee? All right. Mr. Desiderio, do you have any questions?
No, I just want to thank Mr. Caruso for coming, and I think he's offered an explanation. Mr. Caruso, I would ask that you keep us advised in writing as to what the status of going on, so we don't have to have you back again. If you could keep us updated, maybe on a 30-day basis, as to exactly where everything's going and what steps are being taken to correct the issues Mr. DeLuca raised as well. Okay, fair?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I appreciate it.
Okay, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. We appreciate you making the effort this evening. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you very much.
I didn't even know you could wear a tie in the Bahamas.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too. We don't know what he was wearing below the tie, but we won't go there. We won't go there. He is at the Bahamas after all. He could have swim trunks on.
So much for not telling him. Maybe he's hiding down there. Maybe he's, doesn't want anybody.
All right. Back on track. Okay. Now we have boards and committees. I'm going to turn it over to committee member Adams for our first appointment.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask Corinne Malsby to come up to the microphone right there. And she was at our HPC retreat for a while. Thank you very much for coming for that. And I'd just like you to introduce yourself to the community and to the governing body, and why you're interested in serving on the HPC. Yeah, we can hear.
Okay.
It is. It's on.
No, it's on.
It's on. It's on.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Is that better?
Just to keep us on our toes. Sorry.
Okay. So like I said, I'm Corinne Malsby. I've lived in Maplewood for 4 years now. I have a background working for the federal government and New York City, working in housing and development. I've worked with historic tax credits, low-income housing tax credits. So I have a background in that. And then personally, I was really interested in historic preservation. And when I lived in Brooklyn, I was part of a landmarking effort in Park Slope there. And I would love to continue working in that in my new community of Maplewood. So I reached out to the HPC and got involved and have really enjoyed working with them and look forward to lending whatever skills I have to help increase historic preservation and preserve our assets. As Mayor Daffis pointed out, there's a lot of history here in our community and want to preserve it for the next generations.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Corinne Malsby to be a member of the HPC.
I'll second your motion.
Ms. Adams,
Yes.
Ms. Kripe, Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Daffis.
Yes. And thank you and congratulations and welcome to town. It's so great to have you both as a resident and as a volunteer. We really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thanks,
too.
Corinne. Thanks for your time tonight.
Okay. And the next two, I think committee member Kripe will cover. Yes?
Mitchell expressed his regrets and he's very interested in being appointed.
Great. And Pat, committee, he's been modeled, like, thank you. So having an answer like that from somebody who came. So I would like to just turn in folks. Second person is our student at our school, somebody Mitchell, who but part of our efforts to try to make intergenerational. Mitchell is volunteered to be our representative.
Is Debbie on Zoom by any chance or no? Debbie Berg? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Really, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that with all the best. Is Ms. Berg online, perhaps? Okay. I'll second your nomination.
Ms. Adams,
yes.
Ms. Kripe, Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Daffis.
Yes. Thank you, committee member Kripe. Okay, this brings us to our public comment period, the first one of two. This one is for agenda items only. We will start with those who are present in person, 3 minutes per comment. And please come up to the mic, introduce yourself, and let us know what agenda item you'd like to comment about. Good evening.
Hey. Hi, my name is Amelia Connolly. I live at 33 Plymouth Avenue. And I play on 2 town sports teams. I play for Cougar Soccer and I play for Villager Softball. One thing that really is upsetting is that the fields at the Hart, every time it rains, the game either gets canceled or it has to be delayed or it has to be rescheduled. Parents are always saying they want their kids to get outside and be more active. And if the games keep getting canceled, it's part of the way that we get our energy out and how we stay active. Some concerns are that if we turf D-Hart, the environment will be hurt. But there's no good point that if we're out there ripping up the grass with our cleats, it's not going to help the environment. It's going to make it worse. Kids stay active this way. It helps us do it. Being out there with my teams and other teams, it's what I like to do. And it doesn't make sense that it has to be canceled or rescheduled because the fields are covered in weeds and mud. Thank you.
What's your recommendation to the Township Committee? What would you like us to do?
I would like you to please turf D-Hart. Thank you.
You would like us to what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Please turf D-Hart Field. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone on the Township Committee? Oh, we have another. Okay, go ahead. If this is about the same topic, okay, great. Then we'll offer a quick response about what we're doing in this regard. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mike Connolly. I live at 33 Plymouth Avenue. I'm the Cougar Soccer Club president. We're the nonprofit volunteer-run program serving children in town for almost 60 years. This year, more than 500 children will play soccer through our club. I'm urging you to take action on the deteriorating field conditions in Maplewood. We've had a great partnership this year with Melissa Mancuso and Jamie Miranda in the rec department. They're helping us find places to play, find ways to keep the fields open, play here, don't play there. That's been great. We need that same level of commitment and partnership from the Township Committee. We need to fulfill the promises that you made when the turf vote failed 2 years ago. The much promoted Fields Committee hasn't met, and requests from my parents have gone unanswered. We're getting nothing from you guys. Melissa and Jamie are great, but they can't do it all. Better maintained field grasses are possible. All you have to do is look over at South Orange. Floods Hill, Cameron Field, New Waterlands, and Meadowbrook Park all are better conditioned. They have grass. If it's not actively raining, we can play on those fields. If it rains within 24 hours, Maplewood is shut down. Please work with us. The turf blankets are going on soon. Let us help you position them in the right place. Turn off the sprinklers when the field's already wet. Help us repair bad patches. My parents will get out there and they will dig and they will shovel and they will rake and they will work hard. We want to be your partner. A couple of weeks ago, there was a rainstorm all day Friday, but Saturday was going to be clear. We covered Borden Park in painting tarps. 12 of us spent all night Thursday putting them up. And then Saturday morning, we pulled them off and we played on that field. My parents are willing to put the effort in to play. And the big piece here is that deteriorating field conditions, that's an equity problem. The families with remote work and cars and money can drive 30 minutes away and pay 5 times the fee to play on turf fields at private schools. We're working to get the families in this community to play. When we're in DeHart, we attract the kids that get left behind. Just this year, refugees, immigrants, deployed military families, disabled parents, single parents, families suffered economic hardship. All of them, I'm getting on the field. When they're closed, they're not playing and families are leaving those families behind. Our scholarship requests are up 6 times from pre-pandemic. Work with us, please. We will help you. We will drag rakes. We'll throw grass seeds. We'll help position the blankets. But right now, we're getting nothing from the town committee. Jamie and Melissa are with us, but we need something else from you guys. 2 years ago, 4 of you were either elected or already on the committee, and you said something was going to happen. We don't see anything happen. It's a weedy, muddy mess.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. I appreciate that. Those comments, did you write them down? Yeah. Can you forward them to our township clerk? I really love your statement tonight. It was very comprehensive. Thank you. And I'd like to open the floor to our my colleagues on the Township Committee to talk about a couple of things. Committee Member DeLuca, you chair the Public Works Engineering Planning Committee, and we just talked about the fields at DeHart this morning. Can you educate the public, inform them about what we're doing about this to improve their condition?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the engineering department and Public Works, we have been talking about this and trying to figure out how to move forward. And since that time, and so let tell you where we are right now, not sort of the history of it, but we've engaged a company to come in and analyze the first foot, the organic matter on top, to see how we can grow grass better, what has to happen there. So we've taken that first foot approach. We brought in a company to do that. We've also now engaged another company to look at that second foot and beyond, to see, that would deal with the drainage issue underneath what grows, to take a look at what's underneath there to give us some recommendations. So we're waiting on, we received the first set of recommendations and they're starting to take a look at that. And we're going to engage this other group to look at the other piece. We are going to continue to do the silting with the sand. So that seems to help somewhat. I absolutely agree with you that there's some management issues about, no sprinklers when there's rain, and we're working on that. We have a new superintendent now for the Department of Public Works. We'll be working with him and making sure that under his responsibilities, he'll be taking, a direct action on that. Additionally, when the turf field was fought twice back in 2008 and stuff, when we first when the ordinance first overturned it. We made a decision as a township committee to treat that field organically, and that really hasn't worked. So tonight we are going to recommend to the full township committee that we rescind that directive to treat it organically and use an integrated pest management system, which would allow us to use inorganic material there to try to address some of the weed growth, which would make, and then we would do some overseeding, get some grass growing there. So though I can only tell you that the engineering public works side of the house has really been focused, and we have been holding the administrator and the engineer accountable at those meetings. We meet monthly. It's on our agenda every month to tell us how they're moving forward. As far as the Fields Committee, and I'm just going to say this because I keep hearing comments like you're making. That committee was put together by former Mayor Frank McGehee, and it never really gelled. And we were not involved in the formation of that. It just happened as anybody else. And so there's been some conversations about how to revive that. And my colleagues can talk about that, but I think part of the difficulty is that we want to get that committee moving in a way that has broad representation. And we're having a little bit of trouble getting that broad representation. And maybe you can help with that, as you talked about with the demographics of your folks there. But I can assure you that on the engineering and public works side, we are very focused on it. We've given a directive to our people to address this, to study this. And it may mean, there's going to be some significant work that has to get done there. And the last thing I want to say is we did an analysis of the amount of use of that field, and it's way beyond the capacity of the grass. So even when we get it to a level that we can use it and use it when it rains and not have to go other places or have the games changed, we are going to have to start having a serious conversation about the level of activity there, because it's just too much for the grass that's there. And that's going to be a harder conversation, because that means, maybe letting it close for a while so that it can, get going and all that. And just the final thing is that, we're doing a treatment this month, and then we're going to be closing the field and putting the blankets on for the winter. So I can assure you that we've been talking about it, and now we're doing some action about it.
Yeah, and I just want to add that we share your frustration. We're equally frustrated, if not more frustrated than you and all parents out there, and our young players, our players of all ages, frankly. To Mr. DeLuca's point, our data point shows that last year alone, the field was used 2,100 times. That is significantly higher than the higher end of field use, which tends to be in the neighborhood of 350, 500. 2,100, right? So what does this mean? This means that, yes, we have to take all the actions that we need to take to make this better, but it also means that we have to look at partnerships too, right? Like, we need to speak to the school district about using their fields in a more fair manner, because right now the burden is they use our fields, we can't use theirs that much, right? And that's not right. So maybe you can join us and help us advocate for that and take the burden off of us a little bit as well. But I want to turn it over to Deputy Mayor Engel, who has been, since that Fields Committee that was created sort of didn't have a lot going on. Deputy Mayor Engel has been taking the lead on it. Would you kindly let us know what's happening there?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Connolly, and thank you, Ms. Connolly. You spoke very well tonight, and it's nice to see you here in person after watching you speak online for many meetings. So that Fields Committee, yes, it has been a slow process, because we are trying to be intentional about how to put it together and intentional about what that committee is going to be doing. So in the resolution, there was a bunch of stakeholders and organizations who get representatives. So I've been going through it, and we've been slowly appointing people. First, we started with the town committees, and the next level is going out to people like Cougars and MSO softball and baseball. I don't have contact information for many. I was happy to hear you say that you're president of Cougar, so I'll reach out to you after. I don't have contact information for a lot of the presidents of the sports teams, or who to reach out to find out who their appointed representative is going to be. So we can talk offline about that, to how to get, and anyone who's watching can also reach out to me and let me know. And Ms. Kripe and I met this morning to kind of brainstorm next steps, because we have gotten a lot of applicants from the public for 2 at-large positions. So we talked about next steps. We're going to be sending out an email out to set up brief interviews with those who are interested. And we've also just brainstormed, the 2 of us, about what we have questions about the fields, and the usage and how our fields are scheduled was definitely at the top of our list to start talking about with this committee, this fields committee and here and whatnot. So that's kind of where we are. So that's it. Do you have anything to add, Ms.
No,
Gray?
not at all. You covered it quite well.
Okay, thank you for that. We wanted to reply and not just let you make a statement and walk away with nothing. That's not right. Okay, any other members of the public here who wish to comment, who are in person? Seeing none, we'll transition to folks online.
If any members of the public on Zoom would like to speak, please raise your hand and we will move you over to public portion. I am moving over Joan Crystal to speak. Ms. Crystal, you can now speak. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't able to hear Jermaine Kripe at all. Her microphone is not being picked up by closed captioning or by my ears on Zoom. So I'd like to just verify, were Mitchell, Purcell, and Debbie Berg appointed tonight? And
Yes,
if
they were, Miss Crystal.
they were both appointed.
Yes.
Someone please send me Mr. Purcell's email information so I can forward a Zoom link to him for tomorrow's meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If any other members of the public on Zoom would like to speak, please raise your hand and we will move you over to panelists. I see no other hands, Mayor.
Okay, seeing none, we will close this public comment period. And next we have the Board of Health meeting. I'm going to turn it over to our chair, Deputy Mayor Engel.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, PL 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2023 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2022, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Kripe?
Here.
Mayor Daffis?
Here.
Mr. DeLuca?
Here.
Ms. Engel?
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws, and I commonly knows the Open Public Meetings Act requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the Board of Health has a discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health, Township of Maplewood, does hereby prohibit except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the meetings from October 3rd, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes. And now I will turn it over to our public nurse.
Good evening. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Engel. Mr. Weary, can I have the button? All right. Thank you so much. Tonight's Board of Health presentation. Start off with part of the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. We're going to have our Walk with the Mayor. The next two upcoming dates are November 19th at Borden Park and then December 3rd at D Hart Park, both starting at 10 a.m. So if you are available, come walk with the mayor, have a nice chat as part of our wellness campaign. Last month, we had our annual Township Influenza Clinic. It was scheduled on October 14th. Unfortunately, there was a bad weather that day, so it was moved indoors. But we did administer about 18 flu shots that day. And then for those residents who were unable to make it because of the weather, we did have them come in the next week to get their flu shots. We also had an employee flu clinic that following week where we administered 21 flu shots. And then we also did flu shots at the Maplewood Senior Apartments where we vaccinated for senior residents. This year, the township was able to provide two separate flu clinics, one at our health fair and then our annual influenza clinic to try to increase our vaccination rates for a flu season. Okay, animal control update. This is just for the month of October. We have had a total of 13 animal control calls. 6 of them were domestic, 7 of them were sick and injured wildlife, and only 2 after hour calls. Okay. Environmental health services for the month of October. We did 6 restaurant inspections, 11 daycare inspections. We did investigate 28 complaints as well as issued 4 notices of violations last month. For the nursing report, we did investigate 2 reportable diseases as well as continue our homebound vaccination program to increase our vaccination efforts. So we did 3 homebound influenza vaccines, and thanks to Essex County, we were able to start our homebound COVID-19 vaccines for the new 2023 to 2024 vaccination. So we did vaccinate 4 residents with the new vaccine. Little COVID update. As you all might know, the 2023 to 2024 COVID-19 vaccine has been approved and authorized for emergency use. The CDC does recommend COVID-19 vaccination for everyone ages 6 months and older, regardless if you're pregnant or breastfeeding or think that you're going to be pregnant in the future. To locate the nearest COVID-19 vaccine to you, you can visit the website vaccines.gov and then filter out which kind of vaccines you want, what age range, and your location. COVID-19 vaccine is meant to significantly reduce the risk of severe COVID-19. So if you have not gotten it yet, it is strongly recommended by the CDC. These are just the guidelines for our little ones, 6 months to 4 years old. If they've never been vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine, it is recommended that they get 2 doses of Moderna or 3 doses of Pfizer. And then if they have had a previous history of COVID-19 vaccination, the ACIP does recommend that you stick with the same vaccine brand for this age range. So if they've had Moderna in the past, continue with Moderna. If they've had Pfizer in the past, continue with Pfizer. And then for all immunocompromised individuals 6 months and over, at least one 2023 to 2024 COVID-19 vaccine dose is recommended, and you may receive an additional dose with the consultation and clinical judgment of your healthcare provider. The township knows, the health department knows that it has been very difficult for residents to get their most little ones vaccinated against the new COVID-19 vaccine due to commercialization. Essex County was able to get a very, very limited supply of Moderna vaccinations for our little ones, and they are hosting in a clinic tomorrow, November 9th in Cedar Grove from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's a very limited supply. Appointments only, and if there are any appointments left, you can schedule them on their website at essexcountynjvaccinations.org. Our COVID-19 update as of October 28th. The whole state of New Jersey is in low transmission. This is great news. right before the 2023 to 2024 COVID-19 vaccine, we were getting into moderate transmission, and now we're back to low. So this is a good outlook. We are still offering free COVID-19 at-home tests at the Maplewood Health Department. So if you are Maplewood or South Orange resident, you are able to come and get a COVID-19 test at the Maplewood Municipal Building, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30. In addition, you can still order free COVID-19 tests from the federal government, 4 tests per household, and you can order them online at covid.gov/tests, and it will be mailed straight to your address. This is just some guidance on when to take the COVID-19 test, if you're a close contact, if you feel ill, if you might be going to an event or gathering. I know Thanksgiving is coming up soon. Lots of families start to gather together. If you are concerned, using home tests is a really great way to try to prevent transmission and make sure that you don't bring anything besides the turkey to your Thanksgiving. Respiratory season is not just COVID-19 and flu. Like I said, flu vaccine is out. It reduces the risk of severe flu, and it is recommended for all 6 months and up. Make it easy for you. You can receive your flu shots at Town Hall. We have a good amount of supply of the quadrivalent regular flu vaccine. It is not the senior high dose, unfortunately, but it does have really good protection against the different strains of flu. It is free for seniors age 65 and up, and it is $20 for residents age 18 to 64. To schedule your appointment, you can call the nurse right there or email her. And then we're also offering our free homebound flu vaccinations as well for our most vulnerable residents who are unable to leave the house. And you can call and schedule an appointment as well or email me. And then RSV is also a big respiratory illness that we see around this time. Oh, go back. So everyone age 60 and older can get the new RSV vaccine with the recommendation of your healthcare provider. And then for those age 75 and over, it is strongly recommended to get the RSV vaccine. On this slideshow and on this flyer, you can see the list of local pharmacies that have the RSV vaccine in stock. So you can give them a call and schedule your appointment. Winter is coming. The winter termination program. You are eligible to receive this winter termination program through the state if you qualify under those kind of bullet points you have over here from DCA. If you're being helped in one of the programs, so whether that's general assistance, federal supplemental security income, and more. But what you have to do is you contact your utility bill service and you tell them that you're eligible for the winter termination program, and then you will be exempt from getting your electricity and everything shut off during the winter from November 15th through March 15th. However, we do have to encourage you to continue to still make bill payments during the winter termination program, even if it's just a minimal amount, because it will help you from getting your service disconnected. It will help you from stop getting your service disconnected after March 15th. So even a payment of $100 a month could lower your bill by half once winter starts. You want to plan ahead. This is just from PSCNG, which is Maplewood's utility company. It says the same things, who's eligible and who qualifies for it and what you have to do if you do. And you just call PSCNG and you let them know, and then they'll set that up for you. Medicare open enrollment is continuing through December 7th. So if you want to review your coverage, if you want to change any of your plans, now is the time to call Medicare or go on their website and change that for the upcoming year. And then Medicaid as well, the renewal packet is coming in the mail for you to renew your health insurance. Don't forget to do that by the end of this year. And then we're coming up to our last 2 monthly community grocery giveaways in Newark for open to all Essex County residents. The next one is November 16th. And then we have December 21st will be the last one of the 2023 year. Thanksgiving is coming up, and Essex County is doing their emergency food distribution on November 16th at 9 a.m. At the Essex County South Mountain Recreation Complex by the Cody Arena. So if you are struggling and you need some food, or you know families that might need some food for Thanksgiving, this is a great, helpful resource for families in need. And then I just want to thank the Township Committee for that proclamation on National Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Like Deputy Mayor Engel said, the number of Americans projected to have Alzheimer's by 2060, it's going to be over 14 million. More than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's to this day. And then more than 16 million American caregivers provide over 17 billion hours of unpaid care. And it is also National Caregivers Awareness Month as well. So we just want to make sure that we, they also take care of our most vulnerable. So if you need any information or support, you can contact the Alzheimer's Foundation of America helpline, and the phone number is right on that slide. And then here's another good resource for caregivers of Alzheimer's patients for Spike Care and Wellness Program through Alzheimer's New Jersey. And their phone number is right there as well. And then we had National Drug Take Back Day was on October 28th. We had a total of 2 boxes turned in, weighing a total of 37 pounds. So that's great. And then they were turned over to the DEA collection point at the Essex County Police Academy on October 30th. And if you missed Drug Take Back Day, it is okay. The Maplewood Police Department has a box in their lobby that you can put your unused or expired medication 24/7. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much. Great job. Do I have any questions from my colleagues?
None for me. I just want to thank you for that comprehensive, as always, report. And you're a natural. You're well done. Well done.
Thank you.
And is who?
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
She's not watching.
Hopefully now she's on vacation.
Are there any members of the public who have questions for our public nurse?
There's nobody here. If anybody online would like to make a comment, please raise your hand now and you can be moved over to public portion. I see no hands.
Great. Then I motion to adjourn into our next scheduled meeting, which is Tuesday, December 5th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Adams? Ms. Bright?
Yes. Why do I sound like
Mayor Daffis?
Yes.
DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you again. And look at that. Public health in motion. I'm so proud of our department. There's so much going on and so many ways to promote better community health and wellness. So thank you. Okay. Ordinances on final passage. We'll start with item 10A, Ms. Fritzen.
Yes, Mayor. Item 10A, ordinance on final, ordinance number 3109-23 is an ordinance to amend chapter 127 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Fire Prevention. The Township of Maplewood has joined the South Essex Fire Department. This ordinance will designate the Maplewood Fire Prevention Bureau as the local enforcing agency.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. This being final passage, it triggers a public hearing. Are there any members of the public here in person who wish to comment on this final passage of this ordinance? I see no one in person. Mr. Wary, do we have anyone online who wish to comment on this?
If any members of the public on Zoom would like to comment on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion?
Yes, Mayor. I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a passed ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
I second your motion.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Bright?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes. Ordinance on final 3110-23.
Yes, Mayor, it's item 10B. Ordinance number 3110-23 is an ordinance to amend chapter 181 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Noise. This ordinance will change the hours of operation for construction-related work on Saturdays and Sundays.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Are there members of the public who wish to comment on this ordinance? Mr. Wary?
Any members of the public on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion?
Mayor, I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a passed ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
I second it.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Cripe?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Daffus?
Yes, thank you. And this was an effort that was a lot more complicated than we thought it. So we got it done. Introduction of ordinances. Come on, we got to have some levity here.
Fun.
Ordinance number 3111-23.
Yes, Mayor, it's item 11A on introduction, 3111-23 is an ordinance to amend classification of employment positions within the Township of Maplewood and to establish salary ranges for employees. This ordinance will revise classification of employment positions and salaries within the Township of Maplewood, consistent with a revision of the table of organization established within the Township of Maplewood.
Thank you, Ms. Fritzen. This is a first read, so I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on November 21st.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Cripe?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Daffus?
Yes. And Mr. Wary, this was in part a result of our recent salary audit. Is that correct?
That's right. So this will reflect salaries changing for two reasons. One, for cost of living adjustments made for this year, retroactive to January 1st, and the other for a salary study that we conducted this year. These changes are specific for non-union employees. Union employees are contractual and had received their raises at the beginning of the year.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And again, showing that we are committed to our employees. To their being paid what they deserve to be paid. Okay, so Mr. Wary, we're moving over to administrative reports, and since you warmed up your voice, you go first
Thank
for your report.
So two items on your agenda tonight are for personnel items. So we are appointing a superintendent for the Department of Public Works.
Yay.
It will be Mike Haran. Mike is currently a foreman for the Parks Department. He has tremendous experience and supervisory skills, and so we're excited to bring him on board. He is equally excited to begin the hard work in his position. He certainly has a lot ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
And also we have Michael Holloway, who is before you to be appointed as the Recreation Program Supervisor. That recreation, as everyone knows, is a very busy department in the township. So we are excited to have him on board as well. And that will fully staff the recreation department, which we haven't had for a little while. And so we're excited about that. That is all from me, Mayor. Thank you.
Any questions for our administrator from the Township Committee?
No, just tons of gratitude.
Wonderful. Do we have any update from Westfield? No, was it Westfield or Livingston, the boxcar service? Did we get any information on that?
I spoke with Boxcar. They had put out a survey to gauge interest from Maplewood residents to see if it could support a dedicated bus service from Maplewood, likely to be linked to South Orange, to transport residents to New York Port Authority. They didn't receive enough support to where they will they'll move forward right now. They want to get more interest and more feedback from the people who filled out the survey. So they'll be going through the process of reaching out to them. We'll be going through the process of advocating on behalf of our residents and doing what we can and what is appropriate for a government to do to support their business. So, they didn't give us any other details specific to, exactly what metrics they look for what a successful program is. We'll continue to get that because if there's a way we can help, we'd certainly want to do that.
How was the survey distributed? How did Maplewood residents find out about it?
They posted it mostly on Facebook groups, some commuter groups, some resident groups. And I know that it had been at least widely discussed on the groups that it was posted on.
Okay.
So it got a lot of views. Right now, Boxcar is looking to connect that with specific interest in their program.
We're happy to help individually as well on our social media pages to push it out a little bit more. Do you know what the cost is like once we have a good response?
They hadn't set an exact cost. They had put out a number and asked residents, would you or would you not pay this number? It was a round trip rate. I don't recall it offhand.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I'll reach out to Boxcar. I'll ask for that survey information and I can circulate with all members of the TC.
Sure. We're happy to put it out there to get more.
Do they have any information or literature that they could possibly give us so we could post it maybe at the train station? I'm just speaking from my household. This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, they're a private entity that's looking to, that's for profit. And so we're trying to treat them like we would treat any other business in how we may promote and become their business. So I think on your personal pages is appropriate. And I've been talking to them because if there are accommodations we could make for them that we could make for any business, we would do that. If they need space on the curb and we would provide anybody space on the curb to pick up passengers, we would certainly help with that effort. So, but I think if you in your individual capacities are interested in sharing that information, it would be appropriate and I can give you the link to do so.
Okay.
We had pretty extensive conversations with them back when New Jersey Transit was doing the construction. And we did that. We identified a potential site for them to come in near the Bergdorf Center to operate from there. It was an expensive proposition for the commuters. Yeah. So, and it was sort of the same thing. They couldn't generate sufficient interest. There's also it goes to the Port Authority and it doesn't go inside the Port Authority, I believe. It leaves people outside because it doesn't have a
hub on the inside.
Yeah, it doesn't have, a stop inside.
Right.
So there's some issues there because, people have to wait outside and it's just a little difficult. So, but I think it's worth continuing to look at, but I can, if you have questions, you can ask me about what we did before with them.
Thank you.
Well, look at you having all the answers all the time. Experience, huh? Okay, let's look into that a little bit more. But again, folks, if you're listening out there, I know that you raise your hands and your voices when you have a bad commuting day and you ask for alternate methods of transportation. So where are you now? We are trying to get you that. So you got to speak up again. And let's work on that. Okay. We'll turn over to Township Legal. Mr. Desiderio, you're at home. We hope you are having a speedy recovery of your knee replacement. You look good on camera. Do you have an update?
That's good. I'm trying my best, Mayor. It's not an easy recovery, but I have no report, and thank you for your good wishes.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Desiderio from the Township Committee? All right. You're going to be playing soccer in no time, Mr. Desiderio. I know it.
I hope we have a field for him.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay. Township Clerk, I know you have some updates. You've been busy.
Thanks, Mayor. So first, I'd like to congratulate you and Mr. DeLuca on your victories yesterday on Election Day locally for Township Committee. So in the realm of township clerks and township clerk departments, when an election goes smoothly, that's the greatest. And it went smoothly. We had, no breakdowns in machines, and it just went smooth. So the two guys, one to my left and one to my right, should be credited as well. This is the clerk's department, and they pulled it off. super at the end of the day with the tallies and getting everything back and together and back to the county. So I hate to embarrass them, but I always like to. Amari and Ed really take a bow because you and the rest of the Crackerjack election team that I have in place, which we all saw back in June, ran on its own terrifically, is just a tribute to the great job that they do, and I don't have to worry. Everybody knows what to do, and it was just a great success. So thank you, gentlemen. Let me backtrack a little bit. You were there for our return of the volunteer appreciation dinner night, which was a success. Everybody liked it. It was on October 23rd. And I did a little informal polls with some people that I, know were there. And everybody was happy that it's back and they enjoy it. And they enjoy seeing fellow volunteers and mingling. And somebody said something interesting to me that you can find out what the other groups actually do. What does somebody do on a particular committee? And so success all the way around. And I thank you all for your support in attending. Next up, Veterans Day. And that's Saturday right here in this room. We are going to have a 40-piece band.
Wow, that's great.
40-piece concert band. And you got to wait like every 7, 8 years to see it. It really makes a huge difference in the program. And the room will be transformed to fit 40-piece concert band. And we'll be probably first thing in the morning, clearing everything out. We already have a plan. The chairs are all coming out. The tables are all coming out. And I'm looking forward, and hope that you all could attend. Ms. Kripe, thank you. You are bailing me out. Ms. Kripe is going to be part of the program. Really appreciate that. Mayor, you as well, of course, and the rest of the Township Committee. So again, that's Saturday at 11 a.m. And of course, event planning meetings. I think we have 6 that we need to schedule. And Ed's laughing because he's always pushing me to get them done. It's really a group effort. And that's it. So lots of activities. And we've been busy, Ed and Amari. And I think that they're doing a great job with our hybrid system. And it's just all coming together. So thank you.
It is. Thank you. Any questions from the Township Committee for our clerk?
I have.
Yes, maybe could we give them a round of applause for a great election?
Honestly.
Yes.
Especially with the results.
Oh, yeah.
The results.
Fix it.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So thank you for all your work, all of you. I know you worked hard that day. And actually the day before, it just seems like one big 24 hours.
Mhm.
There was a pretty contentious school board election. 3 people are on the ballot. 2 people are running as write-ins. In Maplewood, the total write-ins that we got off the machines, the number comes to 1,700. What we don't know, and that, by the way, is 170 votes below the lowest person on the ballot. So it came in 4th place write-ins. We don't know if that 1,700 represents 850 for each of the 2 candidates,
Right.
or 1,700 for each of the 2 candidates.
Right.
Can you get some clarity from the clerk's office as to how because I looked at the ballot today, and as long as you fill in one of those check boxes, it reads in the machine that you're voting, write-in. It reads in the machine as a write-in, but I don't know if you fill 2 of those check boxes, does it read as 2 write-ins? So that's what we need to know.
Okay.
Okay.
And that South Orange, how many write-ins did they get?
I have no idea.
Right.
I don't either, but I do know the Maplewood number. Thank you for tallying that for me today.
Any other questions or comments for our clerk? Yeah, I want to thank you, our Township Clerk and your team, Amari and Ed. Well done. This was a consequential election, and we had a real write-in campaign, the kind of which we haven't seen around here, I think, in a really long time.
Yeah.
So, and it went off seamlessly. Yeah, that. So thank you. So thank you for that. And thank you for everything you're doing for Veterans Day. I look forward to it. And I love to see our colleague, committee member Kripe, in her other professional capacity as a faith leader. So I'm looking forward to that. I know you're going to bring it.
Okay, great. Elected officials get to report on what they've been up to since our last meeting. And we'll start with committee member Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate you and Mr. DeLuca on hard-fought campaign and your victory, and also to our friend and colleague Garnett Hall for her being able to represent us in Mila JCC in the assembly. So congrats to all. And now the work begins, right? Amari, I think you had a thing for the presentation I was going to give for, I just wanted to not only inform my colleagues, but also to let the public know about the wonderful work of the Maplewood Memorial Park Conservancy. The Conservancy was started in, geez, I'm not quite sure how to do that, in 2017. And I do something with this, Amari? Just start?
It's got to come up first.
I figured that would happen.
Once it's up there, I think then you can navigate.
Yeah.
Right. It's got the laser on it.
Point towards the computer, not the screen.
Okay. Well, you can do this if you. There we go.
Voila. So yeah, you were going to say to the public,
Yes, the Memorial.
they are what they do.
Right. The Memorial Park Conservancy started in 2017, and I've been the liaison since its creation, and happily so, because the work that they do is really important for those of us who've lived here a long time. I was beginning to notice sort of a, sad looking park that used to be quite magnanimous. So it has been a lot of work for a very dedicated group of people. And they, one of the first projects that they did with David Nile, who was a member of the Conservancy at the time, and it took 4 years to do a tree planting plan for the park. The park is on the historic register, so any plantings or anything that's done there needs approval by the SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office. And so in order to kind of make things a little more seamless in operations for the township, for DPW, and for the Conservancy, to get an entire planting plan for trees, to substitute trees for climate change, for what was planted originally. Also, there's so much that goes into it. You'll see on here the dots throughout the park, the medium green dots are existing trees in the park, and the lighter dots are some of the new trees that have been planted since its inception. And then the dark green areas are shrubs and planting areas like Flagpole Hill. You'll see that there's a whole list of the different projects that have gone on. And all of these projects have been designed and executed mainly by Jennifer Ryan, who is a landscape consultant who started out as an intern with the Conservancy, and now has done all these plans for all the work that they do. And as you can see, it's consistent. It's a regular every year they're working on something. And a lot of these were done either as completely volunteer activities by the Conservancy members, which is not, a lot of people. So it's a board. And they work, they put on their boots and their gloves and their clothes that can get dirty, and they really get out there and they plant, and they work in hand with our Department of Public Works. And So I just wanted to go through a couple brief slides. Did that work? Yes, great. So Flagpole Hill was done 2018 to 2022. It was a 3-year project of different phases. The first phase was done by a contractor and they planted 13 trees and 250 shrubs. And then after that, everything was done with interns, DPW, and volunteers for the next couple of years to get that area, which is all along Donnell Road, between Oakview and Baker. And that's been incredibly, and it's all grown in now. If you go see it and you look at some of these pictures, you'll see that it's just fulsome and you would never know that it was, something pretty new. They also did the entry triangle. That was DPW and volunteers. And there's a nice boulder there with a plaque that they had made up. See, I'm not moving my own. The tree planting from 2018 to 2023, you can see, and we know from our budgeting how much we have to spend just to get street trees planted. And, even not a whole lot. It always feels like it should be more. And it takes a lot of money. A lot of this, the reason the costs are so low is because the Conservancy volunteers are literally planting these themselves, along with help sometimes from DPW. There's been open space trust funds that have been used for this. And also the tree, they were only 41 of them out of all these trees that were planted by an outside contractor. And this particular one, the New Jersey Tree Foundation, does great work. So those trees, but for 41 trees in 2021 to be planted in the park was really substantial. And I think I want people to go and kind of notice what goes on. So the shrubs, all shrubs in the park have been, and that's like 360 or more, have been planted by Conservancy volunteers. And that's literally, the shrubs are in the back of somebody's car and they're dragged out and they do all this work on their own. And they also have developed a master plan for the shrubs, just like we did for the trees, so that we can, or the Conservancy can, along with the township, put things in when we get them, when we get funding, and not have to wait for approval from somewhere else. So, and really, just a great project. So when you see some of our totals, it's 175 trees have been planted just in these 5 years that they've been working, 650 shrubs. And they also, as most of you know, they do public programs. There's Painters in the Park. There's Float and Fly. There's Walk This Way was another concept that they're doing. And of course, the river cleanup and other things like that. And they're doing community education. So I just wanted to, as the liaison for them, and I know how hard they work and how thoughtful they're planning for planting and for other things in the park is. So I just wanted to inform everybody here, because I don't think, we work on so many things we don't always get a chance to appreciate. So big shout out to Jennifer Ryan and to Deb Lyons, who's the chair of the Conservancy. And it's a labor of love for all these folks who are on there. So when you walk through the park, people just take notice that it's looking a lot better, and it's just going to keep getting better. And it's great that they do this work. So I wanted to give a shout out. That's all I have, man.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. It's a beautiful park because of our neighbors who are taking so much time to do it during their personal time.
Yeah.
Where are we with, it just got me thinking when you were showing some of the photos, where are we with, I know a big project that we're going to work on was improving the walkways.
Mm-hmm. Walkway. That's the Walk This Way thing we had across from Town Hall.
Right.
Yeah, they have just recently gotten a report regarding the flood plain and that pathway is not in it. So they now can start planning and proceeding with that.
Right.
So a lot of it is getting funding for that. So they'll likely apply for open space money for that too. And, yeah, so it's going to start moving now that they know.
Right. And part of that, I think committee member DeLuca is going to be improving the lighting along the walkway, right? But having some sort of
Possibly,
low
yeah.
lighting,
Yeah.
if we can. Yeah.
As with everything, they'll plan it out and then there's, you have to take cost and consideration in it and whether or not there's funding for the lighting. Lighting's always the biggest.
I think that'll be a significant improvement to our park though.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that happen. All right. Any questions for committee member Adams? Thank you for that again. We'll move over to committee member DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. Few things here. I just want to alert you that we're finishing up the community energy plan, and we expect to bring it to the Township Committee on December 5th for approval. Once we approve it, we hope we'll set ourselves up for some potential funding from the state, both the Department of Environmental Protection and the Board of Public Utilities. And it could be some significant funding for some of our projects. So you'll hear more about that, and we'll get that to you before the 5th so you can take a look at it. This is my second item is this is the time for our annual board and committee demographic review. So I will be putting together the survey again. We'll send it out. We send it out through, I don't know if SurveyMonkey is still alive, but whatever that exists now, we have that through the Department of Community Services. So the report shows the annual demographic view, and then we do a track of the demographics from 2018 when we started this through now. So we'll be able to see how we've done and all that. So I'll circulate the questions just to make sure everybody's still on board with the questions. And then once we get sign off, we'll start probably next week in sending out and if you could just alert your boards and committees as liaison coming and have them fill it out would be very, very helpful.
Excuse me.
At yesterday's election, around 7:00 last night, grandmother came in with her Seth Boyden granddaughter, Seth Boyden school granddaughter, and the granddaughter pulled out Layla's concerns.
I love it.
And she
I wish you could see this.
It's really cool. It's a handwritten note in pencil, and she told me that she spent some time talking to the people in her families and her friends about what she should present to us as problems, because she knew I was there and she knows that people tell me about problems when I'm there. So she wrote down 2. She said, number 1, Maplewood problem. Trash is everywhere. We need trash cans on each block. 5 cans on each block. 5.
Okay.
That was the first problem. And the second problem is a school problem. And she wrote that Juneteenth should be celebrated on June 19th. And that resonates with me because we have a lot of confusion as to when June is celebrated. And I hope next year we can resolve that. I know some of it is contractual, but we have a different date than the federal government.
Well, the state has a different date than the federal government.
If we could talk about that.
We'll show that letter to Governor Murphy.
Yeah, okay. We can,
like, hey.
So I will come up with some answers. I don't know about 5 cans, but we'll talk about what we're doing with cans.
Did you want to respond to the contractual part of Juneteenth? Anything to add to that?
Contractually, just that we follow the state's.
Yeah, it's just really confusing.
The federal is specific on June 19th.
Right.
Ours is a bit more advantageous to the employees in that it adjoins a weekend.
Right. It's very confusing to the public.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I think we need to think about coordination. And it's, there's also a matter of respect too. If we're talking about, birthdays are a little different because who knows when people were actually born on that long ago, the presidents and all that. And even that we consolidated. But, Juneteenth was a specific date. Yeah. And to do it on a non-Juneteenth day is really a little bit of a disrespect to the purpose, I think. So we could think through that. Okay. So thank you, Layla, for that suggestion and prompting us.
Thank you, Layla.
That was awesome.
And then I'm happy to announce that we did get approval on our annual $10,000 emergency management agency assistance grant. And our next meeting will have a resolution of approval. And then on Tuesday at the League of Municipalities in Atlantic City, we will be receiving our gold in health from Sustainable Jersey. And we are the third municipality in the state, and want to again thank our health officer, Candace Davenport, for all her work that she did there. Also the mayor and having his walk around the parks, that was part of it, and all the work that we've done. So we've sent some photos down there, and they're going to be putting together a little slideshow. Also, because of receiving gold, we have extended our silver certification through December 2026. So that's an added bonus of 1 year. So it's really positive. And my last item is I just want to thank the voters for your support. I know I've been here for a while, and it's really very rewarding to get your confidence or your vote of confidence in me in continuing to do this work. And I will do it as hard as I can. So thank you.
Thank you, Committee Member DeLuca. Any questions for Committee Member DeLuca?
No, but I have something I forgot to say during mine.
Please go ahead.
I wasn't even thinking of letting people know that they could donate to the Maplewood Memorial Park Conservancy. I wasn't doing that for a pitch, more for let people be aware, but you can go to the Maplewood Memorial Park Conservancy.org to donate, because a lot of what they do is self-funded. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe we can put that up on our website, that presentation that you made.
Yeah, I also
think people
already got
people
a
should see that.
request
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Village Green.
Yeah, and we're going to put up our public health report, right? We always put those up on the website. Yeah,
Those go up on the health page. They
Yeah, on
put
the
them up.
page. Okay, because that was really good tonight. It had a lot of really good information. Okay, who's next on the list here? We have Committee Member Kripe.
Thank you, Mayor. Only a couple of things. In particular, I wanted to make mention of the fact that we have a few openings in some committees in our township. So please go to the website and check them out, particularly Seniors Advisory Committee and Rec Advisory. Particularly with talking about fields, it's one of the things that have been of concern for folks. And I believe the Swimming Pool Advisory Committee has an opening as well, or?
I don't think I'm not sure. So I wouldn't talk about it.
So anyway, please visit the site. If you have any questions, please reach out to any of us and we'll be happy to answer what questions you might have about serving as a volunteer in our community. The second thing is today, our PD, our police department, sent out a list of safety tips as we ease into the holiday season. We're hoping that folks will take the time to be aware of their cars, of their packages, of scams that are happening. It's not only the time of year of giving, but unfortunately for some folks, the time of year for taking. So please don't be taken advantage of during that time period. Lastly, one of the discussion items that we're going to be having in our public safety committee meeting tomorrow is going to be about traffic, in particular pedestrian safety. And as a reminder to folks that we are a suburban community, and unless it's posted separately, the speed limit around here is 25 miles an hour. So if you need to leave earlier, please do so. Our children, our bicyclists, our commuters going into the city should not be put at risk because you are in fear of not getting where you need to go as fast as you would like. Slow down, leave early, consider your neighbors. Be safe. We want everybody to have a great holiday season. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Be safe. That's a great message. Any questions for Committee Member Kripe from the committee? All right, Deputy Mayor Engel, you're up.
I have no report, Mayor.
All right. I am going to move that we extend our meeting beyond 9:30.
Second.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Daffus?
Yes, thank you. A few items very quickly. Those of you who came out to the Halloween parade, you got to witness firsthand live in person that Halloween is alive and well in Maplewood. And it was fabulous. I was packed out there. We had a lot of witty costumes by adults and by the little ones as well. And it was a lot of good fun. I want to inform that I started putting together a master plan implementation working group. Now that we have a master plan adopted as of a couple months ago or so, we want to start going through the recommendations in it and to prioritize those. The initial working group was supposed to meet yesterday, but there were some complications in scheduling. We didn't end up meeting yesterday, but it is currently comprised of the steering group, the working group that put the master plan together.
But what we plan on doing to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to participate is to present our working sessions to the Township Committee and to the Planning Board as part of the planning board's public sessions. And that way, no one will feel like they're not part of it. So I will start reporting back about our progress there. Also, and this is sort of a request as well, in line with our in sustainability efforts and our certification with Sustainable New Jersey, I'm interested in having us rated by the Human Rights Campaign Equality Index.
Nice.
This has been a personal thing of mine since I started. At the time when I got on the Township Committee, they were not rating small towns or towns with a population size of less than 50,000. Since then, that's changed. Initially, they said that towns of our size can get an honorable mention, but we would not receive a rating. I want us to have a rating because I know that we can get to a perfect score of 100. So if you all are willing, I will take that on. In fact, Deputy Clerk Amari Allah and I have already done an initial assessment of where we are in terms of our laws and our programs and services. And we're about at 89, 90, right? So we got about 10 points or so to make up. And we'll be doing that throughout the rest of the year and into next year with recommended new ordinances where necessary. And the two of us will continue doing this, but then we're going to bring in other people who can help us. An action plan after we get back from the league. That sounds great. And then lastly, I want to congratulate my running mate and my mentor all this time, Vic DeLuca, for his reelection yesterday. What is this going to be? Your 9th term? You're going to be sworn in on January 1st? That's really remarkable and commendable, and congratulations. And it's been a joy running with you now 3 times. I'm honored to have the support of Maplewood voters to, take the oath of office into a 3rd term. And I'm extremely grateful for all the voters who expressed their continued confidence and faith in me. I promise I will continue working with the same energy, thoughtfulness, and passion that I have the first 2 terms, the past 6 years. So thank you for that. And I want to congratulate Maplewood's own Garnett Hall, who now will be representing us at Trenton. We're really, really excited for Garnett and for all of us. I know that she will take our concerns to Trenton and represent us really, really well. Very excited for her. And lastly, I want to thank the health department in particular. I meant to mention this during their presentation. So we received a few requests, not many, but some requests from our advocates in the community about vaccinations, COVID vaccinations being really hard to come by for insured persons. And so we went and did some advocacy at the state level, and we went and did some advocacy with our county. And as was reported, the county did eventually receive a limited supply of vaccinations for our 3-month-old and older youth population for insured persons. And again, the reason why the county cannot do what they did before, as we've communicated already to the public, is because of the commercialization of the vaccination. And so now the state of New Jersey is not receiving the level of vaccinations that it did from the federal government since commercialization. And it's also harder for pediatricians to cover the vaccinations, which are very, very expensive. That, with limited supply, has made it very difficult for all families to get their really little ones vaccinated. So the county will continue doing what it can, and we will continue advocating. And we thank the members of the community who pushed us to do more, to better serve. That's it. That's my report. Any questions for me? All right, discussion items.
Committee Member DeLuca, you have the first, second, and third.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first is waste management. And just to give a little background, the way solid waste is dealt with in town is that it's a private service between the property owner and the waste hauler. And we have two waste haulers that serve Maplewood Waste Management and Waste Industries. And so those agreements are really individual contracts, and the town really doesn't have a role other than to be an advocate for all the residents here. So we had a procedure many years ago where we would have two curbside bulk pickups. One was paid for by the town, and one was incorporated in the annual fee that you paid, or the monthly fee, quarterly fee you paid to Waste Management. We eliminated those curbside pickups, and we implemented a 2 times a year you can drop stuff off at town hall, or what Waste Management said is you could put one item on the curb for pickup. So we had a situation where a constituent called Waste Management and said, hey, come and get my stuff. And they said, well, it's going to cost you another $150. So we said, well, now that we have this agreement, and they said, no, we have to pay $150. So we had Mr. Kittner check in with Waste Management. And what we found out is that there's an inconsistency within Waste Management that if you put stuff on the curb, they pick it up. If you call, they charge you. So it's totally ridiculous. But now they're saying that for 2024, they want to eliminate you putting stuff at the curb, and they want to charge for everything. So I think as the advocate for our residents, we need to empower Mr. Weary and Mr. Desiderio to sit down with Waste Management and tell them that we don't think that this is a good idea, that if they want to modify the program to, you call and you make an appointment at no charge, or you put it out once a month instead of every week, and we can have those conversations. But just to eliminate it, I think is a disservice to the residents. And there's really they have no, even though they have standing as the contractor with Waste Management, they don't have the capacity to argue with Waste Management. We do.
Yeah.
Right.
So we need to do that. So if you all agree, we would empower Mr. Weary and Mr. Desiderio to engage in these discussions with with Waste Management. You're okay with that?
I would ask that we simultaneously contact any other haulers. And
That's fine.
Everybody has a policy. Everybody
That's fine.
knows the rules that we want them to play by.
Yeah, Waste Management and Waste Industries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I would just, Waste Industries does it for, like, you can schedule the last Saturday of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a free pickup.
Well, I think we just want to make sure that they're going to continue that service, because if they hear Waste Management is
Yeah.
decide,
Well, now that you told it.
Right.
So, okay. Okay.
So we're all in agreement. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
DeHart Park.
Okay. So DeHart Park. So, as I mentioned, after the first decision to turf DeHart was overturned by referendum, we agreed, and this is probably 2009 or so, 2008, we agreed that we would treat DeHart as an organic field. And we've worked hard to do that. We've used organic material there. We haven't used any inorganic chemicals or fertilizers or herbicides there. And it just has not worked. So we need some clarity because our professionals are asking us, if you want us to get the field in order, do we have leeway to do that? And we discussed this at the Engineering Public Works meeting. And we recommend that we rescind that policy of whatever that was, say it's 2008 or so, and that which says it has to be an organic field. And instead we do an integrated pest management system, which essentially means that we use the least toxic cultural, mechanical, biological, and chemical controls to deal with the invasive plants and other nuisances there. And just to try to keep that field in better condition, coupled with the work we're doing on the drainage. So we would try to do some fertilizing and herbicides, and do the drainage work, and try to do something with the amount of use there, and hopefully turn that field around and do whatever else that our experts, that the consultants that I mentioned earlier come back to us with. So that would be the recommendation, and I would move that we rescind the organic field designation of DeHart.
Any discussion? I understand this was a recommendation of the
Engineering, Public Works,
Yep.
and Planning
Yeah.
Committee. Yes.
this morning. Okay. I'm for it. Anyone else?
We did a noble effort in trying to stick with it and it's
Yep.
not working.
Okay, great.
I think we should take a vote because we voted on it before.
Let's do it.
I
Let's take a
moved it.
vote.
Second,
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
yes.
Mayor Daffus?
Yes.
I would just add to that, that the Environmental Advisory Committee Chair was part of that conversation as well. And, as environmentalists myself, we can only do so much. We're not going to be putting any, what's that called? Not Monsanto. What's the other one? The Roundup. Yeah. We won't be using any Roundup, but we'll.
Right.
Anyway,
Thanks for adding that. I think that's important context. I'm sorry, did we get through the roll call?
Yeah, we did it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, we did?
Unanimous, Mayor.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to vote?
Voted yes.
You want to vote again? That was yesterday. Yesterday was voting as many times as you.
Okay.
Today is just.
All right. Wow. Okay. I just had a little moment, didn't I?
Wow.
I had a little moment, didn't I?
It's okay.
Okay, let's get back on track. Promotion of shared housing program in Maplewood.
Thank you. So, Two Towns for All Ages, they've been talking about alternative housing opportunities for folks to stay here through, as they age. And the idea of home sharing has come up, and we've talked about it. We talked about it many years ago when we first put together Two Towns. And we really didn't have an opportunity to move it forward because there wasn't an organization to do the work. There now is an organization that's interested in coming into Essex County. It's Home Sharing Inc. It's the People's Care Center in Bridgewater. And we brought this up at the Affordable Housing Board meeting on Monday night. And they see this as clearly within the purview of providing affordable housing or maintaining affordable housing by keeping people in their homes and getting a companion to live there, help a little bit with the care of the house, provide a bit of an income there. And it works out for both parties, both the providers and the seekers. So what I would ask tonight is that we just endorse this as a township committee and instruct our staff to work with us in getting the information out and doing what we can to promote this so that it becomes another opportunity for folks to stay in the community.
100%. Any discussion? And as you stated, we've always said we wanted to do this,
Yes.
but
And we've, when you first came on, we worked together in changing the ordinance to allow
right.
Companions to live in the home and boarders and what have you. So this is really consistent with that. The plan is to do a webinar, and to do
Promote it.
to promote it that way and explain it. But also, we're going to sit down, put together health and community services, finance, and sit down and say, what list do we have of older adults in town? We have a lot of lists here. Like, we know people who get tax benefits on our tax roll. So if we get those folks and we have other lists, try to figure out an outreach plan so that we can get to them, let them know about this program and see if we can get it up and going.
Yeah. Would you kindly just inform the public, just very top level, briefly, what does it look like, home sharing?
So this organization finds people who are seeking housing with people who are looking for, they match them up with people who have houses or homes and might need someone to come in. Basically it's a person shares, they get a private room, they might have a private or shared bathroom. And then there's the common areas of kitchen and what have you. And the average payment that someone would pay to live there would be around $700. And the homeowner has that house. And in exchange for providing the reduced rent, you might do some yard work, cleaning, shoveling snow, walking the dog. You might do some shopping. There's no personal care involved. Again, it could be companion. You could sit there and watch TV with the person, cook, have meals together or not. It'd be up to you. You might provide rides and things like that. So that's what it is. There's an application process. There's interviews, there's a whole criteria, a set of criteria as to how you can accept someone, how you can change out someone if it doesn't work out. So things like that.
Right. And this organization does the matching
They do the matching and all that. Yes.
and they manage the relationship
They manage
too.
everything,
They do it
yeah.
all.
So the township is not involved.
Right.
We are not becoming landlords. Yeah.
No.
Can I ask a question? Is it just for older adults to take part in it, or can people who are having struggles?
I think it's not just older adults, people who might be having struggle living at home who might be younger than that. Yes.
Right.
I think that would be our interest to do that.
As well.
About that. As long as it fits the criteria, we'd have to work that out with the group.
Thank you.
Okay. The next discussion item is mine. It's listed as a sanctuary resolution on the consent agenda tonight, 351-23. I just wanted to put it on here for discussion to make sure that we're all in favor of doing this. We have a history of adopting sanctuary resolutions in our town of Maplewood. We are a welcoming community, and we recognize when certain residents may be vulnerable under attack. Our last sanctuary resolution was in favor of underdocumented or undocumented folks. And this one relates to declaring Maplewood a sanctuary for trans and non-binary persons. Again, why? As I stated during my introduction earlier when we did the proclamation, it's important in a safe place like Maplewood, in a blue place like Essex County, for us to do everything that we can to be as strong in these areas, to promote equality, to be a sanctuary for real, when we see that our neighbors are not doing that in swing districts in New Jersey, in towns like way too close to us, like Cedar Grove and others, where they're going after trans identity, gender identity, and expression. So I think it's really incumbent on us in a town like us to do this. And certainly this would also be part of our HRC equality rating. Let me just inform the public. You all have seen the resolution. I won't read all of it. I'll just say what it requires us to do, because this is not just a, kumbaya, we're a sanctuary, yay. It does actually have some actionable items behind it. It does say that no department, employee, official of the Township of Maplewood shall condition the provision of township services or benefits on the condition of gender identity or expression or sexual orientation. It says that that we will at all times, all departments, employees, officials comply with the United States Constitution and the New Jersey Attorney General's directives, and of course, federal and state non-discrimination laws in New Jersey, a law against discrimination, also known as LAD in particular, that no department employee or official of the Township of Maplewood shall take part in any reporting or outing of individuals, employees, or residents based on their gender expression, identity, or sexual orientation. That our police department shall adhere to these guidelines, and that within 90 days of the passage of this resolution, 90 days from tonight, if we're going to adopt, the chief of the Maplewood Police Department shall develop training on gender nonconforming and transgender inclusivity and awareness for all of its officers. That within 7 days of tonight, again, should we adopt, the township administrator shall disseminate this resolution to all township employees and officials, and within 45 days shall develop appropriate employee training. We've been doing a lot more sensitivity training thanks to the leadership of Township Administrator Wary, and we should definitely focus on this area in particular if we haven't already. What else does it say here? That's what it says. Do I have the support of my colleagues on this?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Mayor, do you want to move this as a resolution now as opposed to putting it on the consent agenda?
I can move it now, but I also want to acknowledge committee member Kripe for advocating for this. right? And, I was really moved and touched when you did that because equality is all about allies and partnerships.
Yeah.
And you said that, and you're pushing us to be better. And so I want to give you the credit that you deserve.
Thank you.
And I'm really proud that we will be adopting this. So I'm going to move the adoption of resolution number 351-23.
I second that.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Dangle?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for your support. Okay. Consent agenda. Do I get a motion? Do I have a motion?
I move the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Dangle?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes. Public comment, period number 2 for any subject matter. 3 minutes, state your name, your residence, and what matter you'd like to speak about. We don't have anyone in person, so we'll just move to folks online. Mr. Wary?
If any members of the public on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now.
Excuse me.
I see no hands, Mayor.
Seeing no hands, we will close the public comment period. And I move that we adjourn and meet again on Tuesday, November 21st.
Second.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Dangle?
Yes.
Mayor Daffis?
Yes, thank you. And good evening and good night, friends and neighbors. Thank you.